single week. These guys, these legends, the last 5 weeks on UFC have been 36 and 14, a 72% record. And Joy Odessa right there has his TV on and up loud, so it's interfering with me, Joy. What are you doing?
I'm just saying if you... All right, there we go. I shut it off.
Rookie.
Yeah.
And we're missing Jonathan Coachman. So I got a best replacement I could, an inanimate object here that I think will do just as well as Coach does. So we've got a replacement here.
Me too.
Oh, awesome.
Mine's better, though. Mine's a pussy.
I hope he's listening. Hiring Coach was like losing 5 good men.
There we go.
So let's introduce the crew to you right here. Follow the Action is the name of the show. We do this every single week before the UFC prelims, 1 hour before. Our podcast, Follow the Action, is the fastest growing podcast in the world right now. Download over 50 countries, all 50 states. Get it on Apple or Spotify. Go on our YouTube channel, get all of our videos. And let's introduce why we are the fastest growing podcast in the world and why this show is such a success. Fighting out of the city of Philadelphia, it is the legend himself, the Philly Godfather, Steve Maltepes. Godfather, how are you?
Doing good, man. College football is looking good in these late, afternoon games. Early games kind of went 50-50, and now it looks like we're kicking some ass. So it's going to be a good day, JBL.
I think it's going to be a great day. I hear the city of New York may get a professional football team next year.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I hope so.
Oh,
God,
my God.
Jesus.
How do you lose a football game when you win the turnover battle 3-0? I think it's like 91.4% you win the game and 89.8% you cover the spread, and neither of that happened.
It's like 300 yards in penalties.
It's outrageous.
I mean, it was horrible, awful.
I can't believe I fucking. I'm sorry. I can't believe I bet him either. I can't believe I bet him, man. I really like. And something kept telling me, intuition. Don't pull the trigger. Don't pull the trigger. And I fire, and I'm feeling good. And as soon as the game starts, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking?
Well, let's introduce you to the gentleman who loves the New York Jets, whose dad watches the show. We're very proud of that fact. He is the best combat sports handicapper in the world. He is Bagels, Joey Bagels, Mr. Joey Odessa. Joey, how you doing?
What's up today?
Boy, you fired up. Yeah, what the hell? God, what? This is terrible. This is terrible. You had your TV on. You had the noise going. I say, how you doing? I give you this great build-up. I'm telling you the greatest thing to ever walk on God's green earth. And you're like, hey, great, yeah.
I'm fired up for all these women's fights. I mean...
Full of shit. Everybody's full of shit.
I'm telling you. The man...
I'm being politically correct, I'm pumped up for these women's fights.
Very few people know this, but this next gentleman was the man who played Fabio in all of the romance novels himself. He is a supermodel. That's why we can't put him on there. He is Mr. Dave Mason from Bet Online. Dave, how are you today? I hope you're better than Joey.
Nah, and I'm always better than Joe, even when I was sick. But
wow.
I'm doing great.
Wow.
Not about my picks, but...
You're like the president, had COVID.
That's right. I beat it, man. I'm a survivor.
Let me tell you something. Dave Mason was doing push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups when he had COVID. That shit can't mess with Dave.
Nah, man. First day I was freaking crying like a little girl in bed, but besides that, I was
you told me you were doing dips, you were doing triangle push-ups. Get out of here.
All right, last time I was on the show, I was reading my notes, and Bruce Pritchard said you were looking down the whole time. I don't know if Bruce will ever come back in the chat line again, but just in case.
Well, who's Bruce Pritchard? Just to explain, because I know, listen, everyone in the wrestling world knows who he is. But there's a lot of sports bettors that don't. If you want to explain exactly how great of a mind, this guy has.
Yeah, Bruce Pritchard, brother. He's played the Brother Love, the character that walked out with the Undertaker when he first came out. Was a character, the old kind of evangelist with the red face. But Bruce, what most people don't know, has been Vince's McMahon's right hand guy since the early '90s. They created the Undertaker character, the whole Attitude Era, all of the stuff that has come before. Now he's Vince's right hand guy. Runs all the TV. He runs Raw. He runs SmackDown. Bruce has been one of the most creative forces in wrestling history, along with Vince McMahon. They've gone hand in hand for the last almost 30 years. Vince has fired him a couple times, so they do have their pitfalls. But Bruce and Vince going hand in hand for the last 30 years in wrestling business, and seeing WWE, then WWF, grow from this Northeast regional promotion to this mega global conglomerate. Now it's worth several $1 billion.
Wow, it's big.
And Bruce was in our chat room last time, and we didn't see him.
Wow.
Who can we credit like the John Cena success to?
Is there any way to get his box shut off like yours, Dave, where we can't see him?
I'm just curious. I don't know.
I'm trying to follow the action live, but my internet must be terrible. I don't know what's wrong.
Well,
So
you got to stop using that Metro's phone service, JBL. I mean, you got to step it up a little bit.
When we used to wrestle in Japan, the Japanese mafia would give you these phone cards, and they'd have some type of tape where they gimmick them. So you pay like $1 for like 100 cards. So you call home for cheaper in Japan because these cards were not exactly legal. You put them in the phone, and it'd run off like a credit card tab on it. And they'd give you like a whole stack of cards when you came over, so you could call home all the time.
Well, that was the big scam back then, because a lot of guys would buy the cards, and they would buy so much airtime and print up more cards. So they would sell the cards on the street, and then lots of times the cards didn't have no airtime on it, and they would make millions off it. So it was a big scam back then.
You didn't ever do that, did you, Joey Odessa?
No, I didn't dabble with that. I'm into the bigger stuff.
Oh.
Used to be.
You know we're live. Don't admit to anything here. Let's go to the first fight. The first fight is a lightweight matchup. Luigi Vendramini, he is from Italy. You know how I know he's from Italy? Because I know my flags, Joey Odessa. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was waiting to catch you there. I was thinking I was going to catch you there. Rey Mysterio would slap the shit out of you for that.
Whoa.
Right?
You're fired up today, Joey. I'm so glad
You got me going.
JBL, you know what the problem is? Joey has never stood next to you, and he doesn't realize how big of a man you are.
Yeah.
Coach told me.
Yeah, Coach. Coach looks like Coach 8 Coach.
Yeah.
So last time I saw him, I said, Coach, that's a nice shirt. Who blew it up for you? It's a lightweight matchup. Luigi Vendramini, he is 8-1. He is 4-1 as far as KOs, TKOs, 4-0 as far as submissions. His last fight was his only loss in his 8-win career. He has every fight that he's been has been stopped. He's won all 8 by either knockout or submission. He was stopped himself in the second round by Zaleski dos Santos. September 22nd, 2018, that was his last fight. He's fighting Jessen Ayari from Germany, whose nickname Abacus. That's right, Joey. He makes fun of me because of my math skills. He's 16-5, 3-2 as far as KOs, TKOs, 8-1 as far as submissions. The German has lost his last 2. That is a fight both back in 2018 and 2017, the last time he's fought. It's a lightweight matchup, as I said. It is a 2.5 total rounds, and these odds, I got them earlier today, so they will definitely be wrong, are minus 150 to bet the over on this. Dave Mason from Bet Online, where do you have the money?
Little quick odds update. Ayari's minus 113. Vendramini is minus 107, so it's almost a coin flip here. 70% of the cash in 64% of bettors are on the Italian, and 73% is on under 2.5. There is some sharp action here at Bet Online. Ayari even or better.
And Joey, what do you have on this fight?
I bet Ayari. I bet the German kid. I thought it's another one of those cases where I'm really going off of what these guys look like in defeat. And that Luigi, he probably won the first round against Ezekiel dos Santos. Lost by, got kneed. I think that Ayari fought that Stevie Ray probably a little bit closer than the scorecards. I don't remember the scorecards, but I like this German kid. 16-5. I think he's going to walk out of here 17-5. I bet him myself.
Good.
And Philly Godfather, do you have something on this first fight?
Yeah, I agree with Joey. Ayari's defense is really solid, and he can pack a wallop. I think he's just a little too much for the Italian stallion. I think Ayari gets the money tonight.
Billy Godfather and Joey on Ayari. And what we'll do is we'll recap this right before the main event. We'll be done with right before the fights start. for those of you that are new to the show, and we'll recap all of this so you can write it down or take it down or bet on it if you want to. So the next fight is a bantamweight matchup, and it is Mr. Casey Kenny, 14-2-1. He's a southpaw, 2-0 as far as KOs and TKOs, 5-0 as far as submissions, never been stopped himself. He has fought twice in 2020. In May, it was a win against Smoka as a first-round submission. In February, it was a loss to good luck with that. Unanimous decision. How do you pronounce that, Joe? I know you know the guy's name. Devilashvili? It's like Milli Vanilli, right?
Yeah, Davishvili. I don't even know. Marab. Just call him Marab. We know who he is.
You're fired up today, Joe. I can just tell
No.
you.
I'm looking. I'm thinking. The kid from Tbilisi.
Oh,
Marab.
that's right. Good fight.
Davishvili.
Yeah,
I can't pronounce his name.
Devalishvili. That's what it is.
Devalishvili.
He is fighting Alting Haile, who was from China. They call him the Mongolian Knight. He is 14-7-1, 4-3 as far as KOs, TKOs, 3-1 as far as submissions. He has won his last 4 fights 2 times in 2019, 2 fights in 2018. That's been his last 4. Bantamweight matchup, as I said, it is a 2.5 round over-under. -220 is what it costs to bet the over. And as of earlier today, Casey Kenny was almost a 3.5 to 1 favorite in this fight. Dave Mason from Bet Online, where do you have the money?
Yeah, the update on odds, -365 on Casey Kenny, and take back is +300. Kenny, they're betting Kenny. 86% of the cash and 57% of the bettors are on Kenny. 65% of the action is under 2.5, which currently pays +160. Nothing really sharp here at Bet Online.
Joey, what do you have on the fight?
This Kenny opened like -2.25, -250-ish.
Mhm.
I bet Kenny. I laid -315 on him. I think that this Mongolian kid is a step down for Kenny. I like Kenny here. I think he wins this fight. And I'm not huge on light. I usually don't see me like big numbers, but I like Kenny. I think Kenny will win this, fairly convincingly. I think he's better at everything.
Philly Godfather, do you have something on this fight?
Yeah, Kenny can punch. Kenny and under. I like Kenny and under.
You had the under as well.
Yep.
And again, for those that are watching maybe for the first time, you guys really don't like combining the two. So you don't like necessarily combining. You make it 2 separate bets. You'd bet Kenny, you'd bet the under. You wouldn't necessarily bet Kenny wins within the distance.
Unless we think we have that big of an edge. But, you don't want to box yourself in and split, end up losing the wager. So you want to bet them separate.
Next fight is a women's matchup, which Joey Odessa has been very excited about for the whole night. And it is the first Thai fighter in the UFC, is Loma Lukebumi. She is 4-2, 1-0.
Loma who? Loma who?
Loma Lukebumi.
She
Did I say
what?
that right?
What'd she do to you?
All right. That was a good one. All right.
What'd you
I'm
say?
not even gonna answer that. She is the first Thai fighter in UFC history.
I thought I heard that wrong.
I got no win to answer that. She has fought 1 time in 2020. That is Loma. And she lost to Angela Hill, under unanimous decision. She's fighting Jinju Fry, who is a southpaw. She's 1-2.
JVL, what's the other girl's name?
Jinju Fry.
No, the other one. What's the other one?
No, Loma. Her name is Loma. Her name is Loma.
Oh boy.
Yeah. The internet these days, I've 10 years ago, I'd have had a lot of fun with that. And now you can't.
I
answer
know.
it.
I got to stop. I got to stop.
So, Jinju Fry, southpaw, is the dog here just barely by +115. Loma, low last name, is -145. She has fought twice in 2020, and she had a loss by submission to the 3rd round to Hansen, and she won in February unanimous decision over Cummins. Strawweight matchup, 2.5 with the over/under, -405. Dave Mason from Bet Online, Davis.
Oh, jeez. Oh.
I think you're not going to say it.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Loma.
I'm sorry.
Miss Loma. Miss Loma currently minus 135. There's some sharp action on her at minus 120. The public's on her as well. 57% of the cash and 64% of the bettors. And 86% of the actions on the under 2.5.
86% on the under. And Joey, what do you have?
I think Loma wins this fight. I don't think much of Fry. But you know what? It's up. What is it, about $1.35 now? $1.40?
Yes, sir. Yes. Our sharps hit us for minus 120. So.
Yeah, I mean, if I could have caught her at the near pick'em, I probably would have. But I think Loma wins this fight, though. I don't think much of Fry. I think Loma's last loss, he lost to that Angela Hill, who and Hill was coming off some momentum there. She had 2 wins in a row before her. But I think this Thai girl gets a win here.
Philly Godfather?
Yeah, Luke booned me. She's very active in the octagon, and Joey's right. She's going to win this fight. She's the right side. -1. It don't matter if you missed the opener at -135. It's still worth still worth betting.
And so you would take the bet on the low.
Yeah, I lay the 35 cents. Absolutely.
Yep. And Joey, did you take a bet on this?
No, but I was, I looked at it a long time.
Bet it right now, Joe. You're going to bet it. Bet it right now. Do it live. Just
Joey,
bet. Get it over.
live now.
Just get it over with. I told you to bet Izzy last week. You didn't want to.
Yeah, I know. It made me a believer, that kid. It made me a believer.
That kid was awesome.
He's 20-0, and I bet against him. His last 5 fights. So
I used to hate fighting guys built like that. I used to hate it because they're long, they have deceiving power, they're lanky, they're very. I used to. That's why I knew. I knew once I seen him fight a couple times. I knew the power. You see Costa and he's all Hercules, and he wasn't doing it.
Well, make no mistake, John Jones will fucking thrash him. Just trash him. John Jones will beat the shit out of him.
I mean,
size matters, and Izzy doesn't want any part of Jones. He might act like he does online, but he's full of shit.
Yeah. It's a different kind of. I think it's a different kind of power from John Jones.
Next fight is a middleweight matchup. It is Jordan Williams, a southpaw. He is -125 as of earlier today. He has a 9-3 record, 7-2 as far as KOs, TKOs, 1-0 on submissions. He has fought 1 time in 2020. That was a win in the KO of the first round on Gregory Rodriguez. He is fighting Imamov. I tried this name earlier, and I still can't get it. Dave Mason, you're good at this stuff. Can you pronounce
Really
it?
not. Imamov. Let's go with Imamov.
Nasruddin Imavov. Okay.
There you go.
Close enough. He's 8-2. They call him the Russian sniper, even though he is from France. Maybe a reason for that. 3-0 and KOs, TKOs, 4-1 as far as submissions. He has won his last 6 fights. He did not fight 2020, 4 times in 2019. Obviously, he won all of those because he's won his last 6. Middleweight matchup, 2.5 rounds is the over-under. Is a +110 to bet the over as of earlier today. Dave Mason from Bet Online, where do you have the money?
Money, we got both public and sharp money on Imavov. 67% of the cash is on him, 73% of the bettors, and also some sharp action on him, and 87% of the action is on under. What is that? Currently 2.5. Under is -145.
Joey, do you have something on this fight?
Yeah, I bet under. I bet under in this fight. Somebody I respect really liked under here. This Williams is a kid. He was on the Dana White Contender Series. He lost a split decision to a Dagestani kid who went on to. He didn't get signed, but he had success with that Cage Fury Fighting Championship shortly after. And then this kid Williams got another shot at the Contender Series. He won this fight, knocked him out. Under looks like a good player. I think I like under. If you put a gun to my head, I'd probably take Williams because I just don't think much of French fighters. They're like Canadians. I just don't. I just don't think much of them. I don't even know what else to say. I mean, Czech Congo came out of France, and
hey, weren't you on with Gabe Morency this past Friday? And he's Canadian.
Yeah, but he knows how I feel about Canadians.
Yeah, let me tell you something.
Like Canadians.
Joey won't even eat Canadian bacon, John. I mean,
No, I'm just saying that they're just, aside from George St. Pierre and, here and there, I think that, I think these, French guys, I mean, they got a good French boxer recently, maybe Mormick. I don't know. I just, you know what it is? I got the picture of that little French dude running from Bernard Hopkins the whole fight. Remember that fight where that kid just, was on his skates? But anyways, it's got nothing to do with this. I just think that Jordan Williams, he's just a tough kid, man. Under's the side here.
I kind of like French Canadians, 80 US, 120 Canadian. But I think Joey's right. Williams can punch a little bit. He throws a lot of punches, but he takes a lot of punches. And if this thing gets down to the ground, I think he's in trouble. The under's definitely the side here as well. You got a big time, grappler against a big time striker. So someone's going to get, someone's going out.
Joy, when you were with the Canadian Gabe Morency, it was a good show. It's a great show. Gabe's a really good host, really knows his stuff. Sports Grid is the name of the network that he's on. You guys were handicapping camel fights.
Yes, we were.
I got 3 alpacas outside.
Can you handicap alpaca fights?
Camel toes, JBL.
Oh.
Yeah, we've gone straight downhill.
We're getting canceled first week.
Yeah, we're going to cancel ourselves. I turned it on, Godfather, and they say something about the Campbell football team. They're fighting camels. And next thing you guys can enjoy about handicapping camels.
I was talking alpacas. I don't know about you guys.
Campbell University. Campbell University's their mascot is the fighting camels.
Really? Was it Joe Camel, the cigarette guy? No.
Nope. The fighting camels. And then I don't know if camels fight, but they race. I don't know if they fight.
This whole conversation shows you how exciting this UFC card is going to be tonight.
Exactly.
It shows the maturity level of the people that I'm sharing the stage with you. You guys are
that too. We take that as a compliment, Joy. Thank you.
It's my fault. I started off with that one joke, and it's been downhill ever since. I apologize.
Next fight is the biggest favorite on the card, Charles Air Jourdain, featherweight matchup, fighting Josh Coulibaly. Jourdain is 10-3. A Canadian, Joy, 7-0, 3-0 as far as submissions, tap outs. That means that all 10 of his fights he has stopped his opponent in. He fought one time in 2020. That was a loss by a split decision back in June against Andre Fili. Josh Coulibaly is 8-1. He's from Australia. 5-1 as far as KOs, TKOs. 0-0 as far as submissions. Fought one time in February. Jalen Turner was a loss. He was KO'd in the second round. It is a featherweight matchup. Dave, where do you have the money?
80% of the cash is on Jourdain, while 73% of the bettors on Coulibaly, or whatever his name is, can't pronounce it. 74% is on under, nothing sharp here at Bet Online.
And Joey, where do you have the money?
Joey, where do I have the money? I didn't.
It's in the closet, underneath the bed over there by the closet. That's where it's got.
Yeah, where's the money? Jesus.
Joey, help me brother out. Okay, I said, where's the money? I'm looking at my notes. That means I'm obviously going to you. So start talking.
I think this kid, he won the first round, I believe, against in his defeat, the New Zealand kid. But Jourdain, I didn't bet this fight. I don't understand why this number's so high. I could see lightning striking, and maybe this kid's a big puncher, Jourdain, but I could see lightning striking here. When you got guys that aren't, Casey Kinney, I think it's a different animal. I feel comfortable laying the 3-1 on him, but this Jourdain, I don't feel comfortable laying 3-1 on him. He looked good in defeat to Andre Fili, and he probably, if I recall correctly, I think he won the first round, lost the next 2 rounds. So my point is that when guys look good losing to somebody, people don't understand. They're like, well, he almost beat him, but you know what? But he didn't. And it's like John Jones. We saw that trap last week with Reyes. He looked great, man. He looked great against John Jones in defeat. Everybody said, whoa, this is the next coming. Sometimes, a loss is a loss. You lose. I mean, I don't know how to really, what else can you say? You look good in defeat, but, you put up an honest fight. You look good in defeat, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go out and, be a world beater in your next fight. Look at that kid Rivera from the 845. from my neck of the woods. That kid he looks good in defeat all the time, but he's always getting beat. And this kid here, this Jourdain, he looked good against Feely, but again, he lost the fight. So I don't put a lot of stock in that, and I certainly don't put enough stock in there to be laying like over 3-1 on him.
Where do you keep your money?
I just, a story. I used to bury it in mason jars in Costa Rica. Not
Dave
mason
jars?
I did, and then I had like a flood, and I had them marked with fucking popsicle sticks, like the general area of my backyard. It was big walled in and everything. I actually tweeted about it because the fucking flood came in and the sticks were floating. I dug like 6 holes in my backyard before I finally found a mason jar. It's a true story. You might have been there.
Put your money in a mason jar and buried it.
Well, in a Ziploc and then in mason jars, and you bury it. I mean, that's the safest place, I think.
When money gets wet and it dries, it sticks together, and then it goes bad. You try to peel it apart, and it breaks apart on you. So you got to be real careful with cash. I mean, I wouldn't know. I read about it. I wouldn't know. I just read about it.
You put it in Ziploc, and then you put it in a mason jar, and then you bury it. And what you do is you take a popsicle stick, and you put the popsicle stick so that, like, if you match them up, you'll see where the X on the spot is. But unfortunately, it fucking flooded. The backyard flooded, and the popsicle stick flooded. And I had to dig around.
What kind of popsicles were
they? Sugar-free. They were sugar-free products.
I probably dug 3 holes. A solid 3
Were they popsicles or creamsicles?
Yeah, what kind of popsicles? Enough with the fudgesicles?
I used to eat popsicles.
Just like Curse of Oak Island, where you got buried treasure in your backyard.
You'd be surprised what I buried.
Oh boy.
What, Joy? Is there a reason in Costa Rica you wouldn't take this money to the bank?
Yeah, I mean, when you
have you ever been to a bank in Costa Rica?
I have not been to Costa Rica.
You better have the most patience. You go there and an afternoon is gone.
There's a van outside with tinted windows, watching everyone walk in the bank. JBL.
All the requirements and everything. I mean, they're brutal.
How many mason jars did you have buried?
Not a lot. 2.
Allegedly.
Enough. Bail money. Get out of town money.
Go
I mean, no, for real. You don't want it in your house. And then it's complicated. And most people get robbed leaving the bank in Costa Rica. Wouldn't you say that, Dave? Like, they have spotters, man, and they'll be waiting. One guy will watch you at the counter, and then people used to get robbed by Office Central there. Not by Office Central, by where Five Dimes office was, the Eckes building, right between the Mall San Pedro and Pops. They would jack guys right on those railroad tracks.
There's that one down here like a year and a half ago where the family tried to rob some lady, and the security guard killed the whole freaking family. Like Steven Seagal of security guards, man. He drew his gun and shot off the dad and two of his sons, all dead.
If we glued money to Coach and sent him down there, do you think he'd get kidnapped?
Yeah, Coach. Jesus.
Philly Godfather, you got anything on this fight?
Well, me and Coach are having a beef, and he sent me like 100 text messages trying to talk about it. Like, I don't want to talk about it. So I had to block him from my phone. So then he texted my son, and he liked the favorite in this fight, Jourdain. So I got to bet the dog, JBL. My son told me he's all over the favorite. I'll take the plus 350, whatever it is, 355 on the dog. I'll take a shot.
Fade the coach.
Yeah, fade the coach.
That's what we do here. Next fight is a welterweight matchup. It is Mr. Carlos Condit. He is 30-13. He is even money right now. At least earlier today, they called him a natural-born killer. However, he has lost his last 5. His last win was in May of 2015. He has lost 8 of his last 10 fights. He's 15-1. KOs, TKOs, 13-6 as far as submissions. He is fighting Court McGee, who is 20-9, 3-1 as far as KOs, TKOs, 8-0 as far as submissions. They call him the Crusher. He has lost 8 of his last 13. He's lost 4 of his last 5. He has not fought in 2020. It's a welterweight matchup. 2.5 rounds is the round total. Minus 260 as of earlier today is what it costs you to bet the over. Dave Mason from Bet Online. Where do you have the money?
I bet a yard. 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 I
Yeah, they're betting McGee. Well, the money's on McGee. 63% of the money's on McGee. 64%. No, 61% of the bettors are on Condit. The update on the odds there. McGee is minus 137. Condit's plus 117. 90% is on under 2.5. Yeah, that's two guys that have been around forever, but I mean it's almost to the point where loser has to leave town kind of fight. Condit does have the best walkout music in all of UFC, so that you got that going for him. But man, I hate to see these guys hanging on too long.
Joey, you go with the good walkout music on this fight. Who are you picking?
Condit lost 5 of his last 6. McGee lost 4 of his last 5. Condit just, Condit's only won, he's only won 2 decisions in his career. Court McGee usually loses by decision. I could just, I could say something, this Court McGee, like in his losses, like I had bet him a couple times in the past, and, you ever see that movie Dead Presidents? Never mind. Anyway, Court McGee's this big recovering drug addict. They're always pitching that fucking thing.
That's all they do.
Right. They're always talking about hardship and shit. And I always think about Chris Rock when he looked at Cleo and said, "Fake ass wannabe junkie motherfucker," and he punched him in the face. Anyway, every time I see this Court McGee, I think of that scene. But I think Court McGee, he might be able to. He'll just take Condit down and maybe lay on him for 3 rounds. Horrible, but I don't like this Court McGee. He pisses me off, man.
No, either side here, no total.
No, just pass. But I don't think Condit. I don't think Condit can win a decision here. I just think Court McGee's too busy for him. How's Condit gonna? He's not a decision fighter. You know what I mean? I think his best days are way beyond. Robbie Lawler ruined him, destroyed him. He never the same after that fight.
Really, Godfather?
Man, nobody under the age of 45 knew what references Joey was making. But other than that, I don't know. I guess McGee's the right side. I don't know. You got 2 bad fighters. Flip a coin, and then bet against yourself basically on this fight. I guess you lay 35 cents on McGee.
Next fight is a middleweight matchup. It is Dequan Townsend, who's 21-11. They call him the Tarantula. He is 12-1 as far as KOs, TKOs, 5-1 as far as submissions. He has lost his last 3 fights. He's fought twice in 2020, which he lost, obviously, both since he's lost his last 3. Both were unanimous decisions against him, Devin Clark and Bevan Lewis. He is fighting Dusko Todorovic. He is a Serbian, 5-0, 3-0. Are his KOs, TKOs. Another is his submissions. He is 9-0 overall. He has not fought in 2020. His one time in 2019, that was his only that went to decision. That was against Teddy Ash, and he won that by unanimous decision. This is his UFC debut. 1.5 is the over/under, and it cost you minus 230 at least earlier today to bet the over. And as of earlier today, Dusko Todorovic is minus 365. Dave Mason from Bet Online, where do you have the money?
86% of the cash and 67% of the bettors on Todorovic, and 63% of the action is on over 1.5, which is currently minus 220.
And Joey Odessa, what do you have?
I think that I didn't bet this fight. I think that Townsend's gonna have to stop him to win this fight. That Todorovic, he beat this Teddy Ash from Canada in the Dana White Contender Series. Busted him up pretty good, if I remember. Decent clinch game. Decent chin. I just think that, again, you got a 9-0 guy here that just fought on the Contender Series coming into this main event, and he's, look how big of a favorite he is. I just don't think these numbers are, it's tough. I can't lay 3-1 on a dude that just, that has that limited exposure, even though he won pretty convincingly. He busted that Ash up pretty good, and that Ash had been around a while, and he'd been stopped before, but it went to decision. So I don't put a lot of stock in that win. I think that, it's either Townsend or pass. And Townsend might be a live dog that can't win. There are some on this card, like that kid, that Awa Tang. I think he's a live dog that won't win. And I think the same thing about this Townsend. I can't bet Todorovic. I'm getting long. I'm rambling on, but I can't bet this guy. No.
Philly Godfather?
Todoric's making his debut, and you got to lay 360. What is it, Dave? 365?
Yep.
And he's going up
Yeah.
against someone that can punch a little bit. I think Townsend's got 12 knockouts, right? Out of 21 victories. So,
He does.
I mean, if you're going to bet a dog, you got to make sure he can punch a little bit, and Townsend can punch a little bit. I didn't bet the fight, but gun to my head. I don't know. I don't like this fight. I don't like this fight
You
at all.
can't lay that favorite.
Yeah, it's just way too high. It's just the kid. I mean, he could freeze up. I mean, this guy can punch. Townsend can punch. Yeah, I'm not touching this fight. I'm not touching this fight.
All right, the next fight is a Kyler Phillips versus Cameron Else, and Kyler Phillips is 7-1. They call him the Matrix, and they fought one time in 2020. He was a win over Gabriel Silva on unanimous decision. His sole loss, he's 7-1, came in October of 2018 against Victor Henry. It was a split decision. He is the huge favorite here as of earlier today. He was minus 485. Fighting Cameron Ellis, who's plus 335 earlier today. 10-4, 6-2 as far as KOs, TKOs, 4-1 as far as submissions. He has won his last 6. He has only been in the third round one time. This is his UFC debut. The over/under is 1.5. Minus 125 is what it costs you to bet the over. Dave Mason, where do you have money?
71% of the bettors are on Phillips. However, 79% of the bet count is on the other side, and 73% of the action is on under 1.5, which is currently minus 115.
And Joy, do you have something on this fight?
This kid, this is supposed to be a showcase fight for this Phillips. I don't know why. I mean, look how far up he is on the main card, and he's 7-1. That's the kid that they nicknamed the Matrix because he's he's wiry. He does a lot of unorthodox things when he fights. Trains at the lab. The other kid trained under Jackson for a while, and he's from England, but he's a Cage Warriors vet, Bellator vet. I mean, he's been around the block, been in all these organizations. I don't count him out of this fight. Another case of where the favorites overinflated. I mean, the favorites might run this card, but again, and I'm not looking. If I'm a value guy, if I'm a guy that's always betting value, I'm going to bet Ellis or whatever his name is, Elsie.
Else.
But I'm not a value guy. I don't go for that. If you bet value, you got to bet value on every card. I think. You know what I mean? You have to stick to that. There's more than one way to skin a cat. I'm just trying to pick winners. I don't think. I can't bet that. I'm not going to lay 4.5 to 1 on the favorite there. No.
Billy Godfather, are you going with anything on this fight?
Yeah, that price is just way too high. Even though Phelps should win this fight, I mean, he's just a much busier fighter. I think Elsie's first debut, right? This is his debut here too. First time in the UFC in the octagon.
Yeah, first time in the UFC. But he was in Cage Warriors. He was in Bellator. His last fight was in that Brave FC Championships. He's been around. He's a guy that, if you show up off, if you have an off night, this is the kind of guy that can rattle your cage a little bit.
Yeah, the line's just way too high. Even though Phillips did look good in his last fight. Well, who did he beat? That Silva guy, Gabriel Silva. So, I mean, he destroyed him, didn't he? But I don't know. I can't lay 450.
Right?
Yeah, I can't lay 450. I'm not touching this fight, JB.
Price too high, nobody's touching. The next fight is a bantamweight matchup. It is Jermaine
Everything. So you know what? Don't be surprised if this Phillips lands a big head kick or something spectacular. He gets performance of the night. I have that written down here for whatever reason, and I rarely do. I write that stuff down, so keep that in mind.
Keep that in mind. We got it on tape.
Keep that in mind, JBL. You remember that. You remember what I said.
You only pay the juice when you lose, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Spectacular leg kick's going to knock him out, but I'm not laying the 450.
No.
I love it. Next fight is a bantamweight matchup. Germaine de Randamie. She is from the Netherlands, the Iron Lady, they call her. She is 9-4, 4-1 as far as KOs, TKOs, 0-1 as far as submission. Her last loss was to Amanda Nunes back in December of 2019. But before that, she had won 5 previous fights, including defeating Holly Holm in February of 2017 by unanimous decision. She is fighting Julianne Pena, who is 10-3. The Venezuela Vixen, she is called. 3-1 KOs, TKOs, 4-1 as far as submissions. 2.5 is the round total, and as of earlier today, it cost you -220 to bet the over. Dave Mason from Bet Online, where do you have the money?
GDR, 62% of the cash and 71% of the bettors are on her. 63% is on under 2.5, and we also have some sharp action on her at about -120 or better.
And when you say her, I missed that first part. That was on Radami?
Yeah, I just call her GDR, man.
Gotcha. GDR. Okay, J.O., what do you got? You got GDR?
I bet GDR. I bet Jermaine. I think that she'll beat her. She's tough, man. Badass kickboxer. I think she had a ridiculous kickboxing record, like over 40 wins, no defeats. Her only 2 losses in the last, 10 years are to Amanda Nunes. She got the win over Holly Holm. The Venezuela Vixen, the dog there, I mean, she's good on the ground, but it's got to get there. And I think that Jermaine's got decent enough takedown defense to hold her off. Actually, I think she's going to bust her up on her feet. I think Jermaine wins this fight, though. I bet her. I bet Jermaine. What did I lay? I laid $1.30, maybe a little less. Yep, $1.30. Jermaine, I bet.
And Philly Godfather, did you go with GDR?
Yeah, I didn't bet her. I like the dog. I'm betting the dog here. I'm taking the plus money on the dog here.
You did bet the dog.
Yeah, I bet the dog. I think it's going to go to the
Not
ground.
a beauty contest. Not a beauty contest.
Well, we're going to see.
Not a pageant.
I
She's
know.
a good-
I know GDR's got some big wins, but I think Pena beats her.
Ooh.
Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
All good, man. Pena, I've been following her since the beginning. But the problem with her is she just hasn't been active. She made a run a few years ago. Looks good, and I think she has 6 fights in 7 years in the UFC. I think she got pregnant there for a while, so she has valid excuse there. But I mean, man, it's hard to know what you're going to get with her because she showed a lot of promise earlier in her career and made a run. I think she fought Shevchenko, didn't she, Joe? I think Shevchenko subbed her.
Yeah,
Everybody loses to her. There's no shame in that. But yeah. But I mean, she's talented. It's just I wish she's been more active over her career because early on I was like, okay, this chick can make a run and she might have a belt someday. But it's man, she's never freaking fights, and it's unfortunate because she's fun to watch, if you know what I mean.
When she got pregnant, did they make you take the lie detector test, Dave?
What's that? What did you say?
I said when she got pregnant, did you have to go on more?
Yeah, man. No, man.
Just making sure.
She's got a good wins.
Wasn't me.
Yeah, if GDR is supposed to kill her, why is the line only 35 cents? It's just
Pena's good. I mean,
that's what I
Pena's
mean.
good.
She's got a shot here, man.
She can wrestle too a bit. GDR is a stand-up kickboxer, so Pena gets her down and does a little ground and pound action.
It's got a shot. It's got a shot.
Yeah, but then the next round starts on the feet, and that's where Jermaine is. That's where Jermaine's bread and butter is. I think Jermaine beats her. I think she busts her up. I'm not saying she stops her, but I think she's going to beat the shit out of her.
I hope not.
It's just hard with Pena. It's hard with Pena because she's just so inactive, man. It's just she has talent, but it's just what the hell? Where's she been? You know what I mean? It's what are you going to get? It's it's the tough part about Pena.
All right. Well, we got a little opposite side there.
Little opposite sides.
It happens, man. It happens.
Next fight is the only heavyweight fight on the card. It's 2 guys who are almost exactly the same. 74, 75-inch reach difference. 6 foot, 261, 6 foot, 260. It's almost the exact same build. Jorgen De Castro is 6-1. He's 5-0 as far as KOs, TKOs. 0-0 as far as submissions. They call him the Mad Titan. His sole loss was to Greg Hardy, which was a unanimous decision against him when he hurt his foot in the first round, fighting Carlos Felipe, who is the dog here at 2-1, the underdog, at least earlier today. 8-1 as far as his overall record. He is a Brazilian, and he's knocked out 6 people, never been knocked out himself. No submissions for him, no submissions against him. His sole loss came in July of 2020 to the Moldovan, Sergey Spivak, and that was a majority decision. The over-under is 1.5 rounds. and as of earlier today, it cost you minus 130 to bet the over. Dave Mason, where do you have the money?
64% of the cash is on De Castro. 57% of the bettors are on the other side. Felipe. Current odds are De Castro minus 220. Take back is plus 185, and 64% of the action is on over 1.5. Currently minus 125. Nothing really sharp here.
And Joy, what do you have?
Yeah, man, you need your head examined to bet the latest favorite. The dog here fought. I mean, they're not very good.
Neither guy can grapple. They're just going to
favorite-
throw bombs. They're just going to throw bombs. Anything can happen.
Yeah, the favorite lost to Greg Hardy. I mean, geez, Greg Hardy, he's gotten better over the years, but the Brazilian, aside from being a tremendous shit talker, I mean, he's a tremendous trash talker. He lost to that Sergey Spivak, that Moldovan who. You know, I remember this fight, and I remember sitting there going, Jesus Christ, you know, both these guys should lose. I mean, it was horrible. It ended up went to decision, a majority decision. But I remember saying, nobody won this fight. It was horrible. And how these guys got to co-headline this fight, I don't know, man. I just, you know, pictures of Dana with a German Shepherd or something. I don't know how these guys got on there. They're horrible. Horrible.
So, how do you really feel about them, Joey? I mean,
they're just from hunger. I mean, they're just so bad. They really are.
Was De Castro the guy that was like really whining and bitching after that decision against Spivak? Remember? And he's like acting like he won, and it was just a brutal.
Well,
like, how can you?
Yeah, Felipe.
Yeah, and he was like, "How can you complain after that, dude? That was embarrassing." He was throwing his mouthpiece and his mouthpiece and carrying on. It's like, dude.
Horrible.
Just go home.
They should have cut them both. I would have. I don't know how these guys got here. Maybe, you know, I don't know. Maybe I can't. Just again.
Comment on apparently what is going to be a shit show.
I ain't laying 2.25 on that dude, man. I'll take the dog just because I'm not going to lay 225. Give me Felipe. I'll take Felipe. You know, I'm going to bet it right now. Hold on.
Let me put that down.
I just bet it right now.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you're probably doing right if you bet this Felipe and that if you bet those if you bet opposite these big 3-1 favorites that we passed on, you know, you might split.
Who the hell are these guys? They're all horrible, Joe. They stink.
Yeah, I mean, bad fighters fight bad. Bad fighters fight bad. Bad teams play bad. And, you know, speaking of bad teams, what's Navy doing right now?
Navy. Hold on, let me check.
JB, we got a recap now, right? Is it a recap or we?
Yep, we got a recap. Let me run down the recap while you guys look up what Navy's doing. I'll give you a recap of all the fights. First fight, the Philly Godfather and Joey Odessa took Jason Ayari, the German, in the first lightweight matchup over Vendramini. The second fight, there was no sharp money on Casey Kinney, Alating Haile from China, the Mongolian Knight. The Philly Godfather took the under. And the Philly Godfather and Joy took Casey Kinney over Alating Haile. Second fight, Loma, who I will not pronounce her name because that did not work well. The Philly Godfather took Loma.
I apologize, JBL.
Good. The slow motion car.
It was all downhill after that. We were done.
Straight downhill, right off a cliff.
Tapped out.
Sharp money, according to Dave Mason from Bet Online, was going on Loma at minus 120 or better. 86% of the money was on the under. That would be the public money. Next fight is Jordan Williams versus Nasruddin Imavov from France. Public and sharp money was on Imavov. The Philly Godfather liked the under. Joy liked the under. 87% of the public was also on the under. Next fight, Air Jordan, Josh Kulabayo, no sharp money, 3 words, fade the coach.
That's it.
Yes.
Fade the coach.
Sorry, Coach. I know we're friends, but we got to fade your ass here.
Yeah. Coach is our contrarian indicator. Whoever Coach bets, we load up the wagon and bet.
For no reason at all, just because he's on the other side.
That's it. That's the only reason, because Coach took it. And I hope Coach is listening right now. If he is, Coach, we're really thankful that you're not here. Just kidding, Coach. Next fight, Carlos Condit, Court McGee, both have lost most of their last fights. Everybody said pass on that. Next fight, Daquan Townsend, Dusko Todorovic. The price was just too high for the guys to take it. Todorovic, this is a highlight for him. This is UFC debut. 86% of the cash was on Todorovic. The next fight, Kyler Phillips and Cameron Else in his UFC debut. Again, huge favorite, Kyler Phelps at 4-1. Price is too high. 73% of the public was on the under. The guys didn't touch the fight. Next fight, GDR against Juliana Pena. Sharp money and Joy was on GDR. The Philly Godfather. The only time we've had a conflict today was on Julianne Pena.
Oh, we have conflict every day. This whole show centers around the conflict between Coach and PG, and you and me, JBL. We seem to be all right, but
we seem to be good. We seem to be good.
We're good. We're good unless John Cena comes into the picture, and then
we're not good now.
Then we get salty. Right?
Joey's never stood next to you, JBL. Don't worry about it. It's a big dude.
Next fight, while Joey's down there in quarantine in bunker in Florida. Jordan Castro, Carlos Felipe. This was designated the shit show of the night. Philly Godfather said he'd take the dog in this just because it was the dog. So we're to the main event of this card. Miss Holly Holm, 13-5, 8-1 as far as KOs, TKOs, 0-1 as far as submissions. She has lost 5 of her last 8, fighting Arena Aldana, who is the first Mexican-born woman to be in a main event in the UFC. So congratulations. The first women's main event to be in Abu Dhabi. Congratulations to both ladies and to the UFC. Arena Aldana is 12-5, 6-2 as far as KOs, TKOs, 3-0 as far as submissions. The over/under round total stands at 4.5, being a 5-round match. Minus 255 as of earlier today is what it cost you to bet the over. So Dave Mason from Bet Online, where do you have the money?
57% of the cash, 52% of the bettors are on home. 74% of the actions on under 4.5. Nothing sharp. Quick odds update: home is minus 131, despite being 3-5 since Ronda Rousey, and Aldana is plus 111.
And Joy, what do you have on the fight?
I bet Aldana here. Crazy, Howie Holm. That's the first when Holm fought Ronda Rousey. This is a personal thing. That was the first fight, the first UFC that I didn't get to watch live. Besides like UFC 37.5. I was asleep during that fight. I was in a coma during that fight, but I woke up and I had this premonition when I was asleep that Ronda Rousey got beat and Floyd Mayweather got beat. And then when I came to figure, after like a week of like getting all the cobwebs out and everything, I realized that Holm had won. Now, I just threw that story in there because we had 7 extra minutes and I figured it would be fluff. Like nobody cares anyway, but Irene Aldana, I think, beats Holly Holm. I think Holm is tough, but you look at this fight, a couple different things. The math, I said this earlier in the week, MMA math, Holm beat Raquel Pennington in her last fight. Aldana's last loss was to Raquel Pennington. You would say, Holm beat Pennington. Pennington beat Aldana, so Holm beat Aldana. But that's not how this works. Aldana, I think, beats Holly Holm. Can she stop her? Holm's pretty tough, man. I don't know if she'll stop her. I worry about the judges here because Holm, every time she lands something, she's always like making sounds.
It's brutal.
It is.
I really dislike watching her fight.
And then you got Paul Felder. He's there fucking giving his analysis of the fight. Like, she won that round. She won. No judges.
She's a point fighter, man. She's a point fighter. I mean, she came out as sorry to cut you off, man, but I get riled up. I get riled up with her, man. She came up in this big boxer, and she shocked the world great, and then she's done nothing since, and she's just a point fighter. And she came in as this great boxer, but she doesn't doesn't knock anybody out. Not named Ronda Rousey.
So, Joey, you don't like Canadians, French, and Felders, right?
Yeah, Felder's now.
Is Felder from Canada?
You know what? I go to
and he's
the
from
chat,
Philly.
Oh, really?
I think Paul Felder's in the chat room. Because
Are his parents from Canada?
Joey the Fat Man Bagels. The fat bald.
He's definitely not Canadian because it's from Philly, but his
But he don't have like a Philly
his
accent. He don't.
nickname, he has nicknames the Irish Dragon or something.
You sure he's not from like
I hate
Scranton
that,
or
man.
something, somewhere up
He's
there?
in
Like,
He's from Northeast Philly.
really?
Chat, so.
Yeah.
Is he friends with our buddy?
Alvarez?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've trained together. I think they're in the same. I'm pretty sure.
And he speaks very highly of you, Joy.
I know. I think he's in chat. Somebody called Joey the Fat Bald Man Bagels. One of the people in chat.
That's Coach.
You know, it could be Coach. It's either Coach or Felder.
It's Coach, dude. That's Coach.
Can you believe that?
That's Coach.
Anyways, what can you do? But no, I think Aldana wins
on
this
the
fight.
chat because I can't get the chat. I was trying to get the chat, but
Well,
anything
we
else
got-
happening in the
there's a
chat?
bunch of good dudes in there. My man Straight Wager, King Gucci is in there. Yale UFC. That Gotham City Vic. He
My
seems pretty
man,
sharp.
he's sharp. He's
Yeah.
really sharp.
Yeah, I got I'm
Gotham
looking at
City
Straight
Vic.
Wager. Straight Wager's Canadian. I don't have anything against Canadians. I'm just busting balls, but I used to rub more and see with that Canadian.
So they should
I
just
back
stick to
anyone
hockey,
that
Joe.
loses the fight.
Tell them just to stick to
that?
hockey.
Who?
Tell the Canadians to stick to hockey.
Curling.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Curling.
so tell me about Canadian amateur wrestling. Does it even? I mean, it's just like non-existent. I mean, when's the last time they had one medalist? I think one bronze.
Wasn't
ages ago.
that fighter
It was
Danny
like-
Lalonde from up there?
What's that?
Remember Danny Lalonde, the boxer? Wasn't he from
Yeah,
Canada?
the one that beat Leonard, right? He beat
Yeah.
Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah.
He beat Ray Leonard.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the big, tall, good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Danny
He's,
Lalonde.
There was all kinds of drama about him. Something crazy happened with that camp. It was I don't remember exactly what it was, but Donnie Lalonde and I don't even know. I'm just going off memory. I remember there was a lot of drama. I don't remember what the headline was, but it was.
Was that
something
Canada's
crazy.
best fighter? Was
What's that?
was that Canada's best boxer, Danny Lalonde?
I would say Glenn Cobb Johnson.
Yeah.
Isn't he
Yeah.
Canadian? Glenn Cobb Johnson,
I
man. He
guess
fought
so.
everybody tough.
Yeah, he
a
was
tough
tough.
son of a bitch.
He was tough.
Yeah.
Joy, if we get a Canadian sponsor, you're going to love the entire country.
Look. I just, me. I just don't. I'm playing. I'm the bad guy here. You know what I mean? You guys used to getting piled on, so I got to throw it back today.
Philly Godfather, do you have anything on this main event?
I think the Mexican fighter Aldana's just too busy for Holmes. I think she beats her. I think Holmes should start thinking about another career. Maybe start doing Wendy's commercials, and it's enough. I've seen enough for her in the UFC.
Yeah, the Mexican wins this one. Yeah, this is Viva Mexico.
That's it.
Sure.
Well, there you have it, guys. That is Follow the Action. We are 2 minutes away from the being 1 hour in, so I want to thank everybody. And as we always do, we beg Philly Godfather. Got a lot of football going on, a lot of football going on tomorrow. Anything free for the people who've kind of sat it here and listened to Joy rant about Canada, French, and Felders?
I took some Miami Dolphins +6. We took some under in the Colts game tomorrow. I think Peters is out for the Eagles, and there's some sharp money on the 49ers, but I kind of like the Birds. Anything over 7.5, +7.5, you can grab it. And some Auburn +7.5 tonight.
Auburn. So you got Auburn. You had a little bit on the Dirty Birds of Fly Eagles Fly, Miami Dolphins, and the over in what game?
Under in the Bears game.
Under in the Bears game.
That's it.
Awesome. 4 free picks. Can't beat it with a big stick.
They just got to
I'm
win.
John Layfield. This is Follow the Action. Thank you very much for joining us. Good luck in the UFC tonight. Join us every single week right here, 1 hour before the UFC prelims for fighting out of Philadelphia, the Philly Godfather, the best combat sports handicapper in the world, Mr. Joey Odessa. It's bagel time, and the supermodel that no one has ever seen from Costa Rica, from Bet Online, Mr. Dave Mason. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a great night.